Okay, so I am going to go ahead and introduce to you week 12, which is from March the 27th through April the 2nd. You're going to be studying Sayer and a Star. The first thing that you need to do is study pages 101 to 104 in your text. After completing this week's assignments, you should be able to distinguish between the verbs Sayer and a Star and know in which situations to use each. All of this week's assignments are due by March the 30th, and they address student learning outcomes 1, 2, and 3. So, and you can find your student learning outcomes in your syllabus. So the first thing you need to do is look at your instructor videos. So click here into this book. It'll open up 4 videos. Watch each of those 4 videos. When you're done, go back out here. And then you will open up your class participation form, and you'll open up the forum, and then you'll hit reply and post any questions or concerns you have about the videos or any other questions or concerns you have about the class thus far. And then you'll get out of the forum and go back to our site. And this week it tells you that you have a cultural assignment. So you'll open up the cultural assignment when you're ready to complete it. There's 4 different videos. So you can ignore this part that says, I'll change this. It says to go to my language labs. I think I only have the videos here. But if you open up the video, if you click on any one of those links, it's going to open up one of the videos. And then I do have closed captioning available. You'll want to click on the English part, and if you hit play, if we get to where there's a speak
de toda América.
then you can see, you can see that there's closed captions with each of the videos. So just make sure you turn on the closed captioning part so that you can see that. Okay, so after you're done watching each of those videos, then you'll hit attempt quiz now. You only get 1 attempt. All of these are true, false, so that means that the computer should be able to grade them correctly, and so the grade that you receive should be the right one. It won't be something that I have to go back in and manually grade, which is nice because I know sometimes you guys get confused when that happens. And then you also have test 5, and you have an oral dialogue, which will be in My Language Labs. So you can click on the My Language Labs link, which I already have this open. Let me go to our today's view. Okay, so when you click on the link, this is what you'll see. You'll click on the 30th, and up will pop your oral dialogue and your test. So I'm going to open up the oral dialogue. Remember, you only get 1 attempt to complete both of these assignments, so don't open them until you're ready. Okay, so for your oral dialogue, it says read the following situations carefully, then use the same subject and expression with tener to complete the situation. Give your responses orally. So when you're ready, after you read Julio va a un restaurante para comer, here's where you're going to be using your tener expressions. So, for example, here Julio va a un restaurante para comer. The tener expression that makes most sense is that he's hungry. So I would say tiene hambre. So I would click here. Tiene hambre.
Tiene hambre.
Okay, and you can have it play back to you. So you'll do that for each of these. Remember that you're using tener expressions. So make sure that you do that correctly. Also, to make sure that your oral works correctly, you might want to go back out here to My Language Labs. I've sent course announcements to you guys multiple times, but if you open up your course announcements and you go to remember to do this first or problems with orals and tests, if you open up these announcements, here are various videos that tell you what you need to do to turn off, because you need to make sure your pop-up blockers are turned off and that your browser tune-up is completed. And then you may even have to make sure your microphone is set up correctly for these activities to work. Most of the time it's a pop-up blocker issue. So if you can get your pop-up blockers turned off, then you should be okay. So I'm going to go back out here. So anyway, you know what to do for your oral. Then for your test, this is test 5, which is on the first part of chapter 3. Okay. So it tells you first match each academic subject with the associated concept, person, or thing. So you've got un mapa, and then you just match up un mapa with historia, veterinaria, geografía, etc. And I think it's the same choices for each one of these. Okay. Then you go to the next one. Here it says que número es, you had your larger numbers, so you work in a check processing department of Bancomer, a well-known Mexican bank. Part of your job is to input digits into a computer program that represents the numbers written out on a check. For each blank, write out the digits write out in digits the number given. So you're given the number written out, and you need to write the numerical form. Like, what is 503? So you would write that here in the blank. Here you're doing the reverse. Your company is transferring you to Mexico for the next 5 years, and you have opened a checking account with Bancomer, a well-known Mexican bank. You will need to write all of your checks in Spanish. Practice by writing out the following numerals as words in Spanish. Okay, so be very careful with that. Take your time, because you want to make sure that you're putting your mil and your millones where they should go. Oh, and one other thing, remember that if you have uno, like for example here, you're going to have there'll be 1 million will be part of this. Remember that if your uno is immediately preceded by another word, that you have to drop the O. So in this case, you should be using un instead of uno, so be careful of that. Okay, here you're doing your possessive adjectives. So it says your Spanish tutor wrote a number of sentences to quiz you on the correct usage of the possessive adjectives. Choose the possessive adjective that accurately completes each sentence. So if it says, today I don't have books, whose books would you not have? My books. So you're looking for the my, and you're picking the correct spelling of my. And remember that if the noun being described with the possessive adjective is plural, that the possessive adjective itself must also be plural. So you need to look at the things that are right next to the blank. If they have an S, then your possessive adjective needs an S. If they don't, your possessive adjective does not need an S. Here again, you're using your possessive adjective. So complete each sentence with the correct possessive adjective. The possessor will be the same as the subject. So if we're going to have our car. Okay, if it's I'm going to be in my history class. So if this is conjugated for nosotros, then you're using our here. And if this is conjugated for I, then you're using my here. So be careful of that. Listen to the following situations, then choose the expression with tener that best corresponds to it. So you'll just play this.
Paulina y Amanda son jóvenes.
Okay, so Paulina y Amanda son jóvenes. Does that mean that tienen calor, tienen 10 años, or tienen prisa? What would make most sense? You just click the answer that would make most sense as a response to the statement given. And here, fill in the blanks with the appropriate expression using tener. Now, I've had people in the past get this wrong, because you can't just plug in tener here. This is where you're using tener expressions like tener miedo, tener hambre, tener prisa. So you'll fill in the blank with the tener plus the expression, and then you'll conjugate the tener for the subject. So you can't just leave it tener miedo. It might be tiene miedo or tengo miedo, etc. En qué parte de la universidad? So you're going to read the statements over here and then pick where in the university would you be doing those things. Where would you be eating pizza? Okay. And that's pretty much it. So just when you're done, hit finish and submit for grading. It'll come to me, and that's all that you need to do.